So, are you my friend, my lover, or just my Friday night convenience? Today, we're talking about the blurry lines in modern dating and why the real risk isn't asking for what you want, it's staying quiet and settling for less. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Women on the Brink. So, today we're going to talk about something that sounds quite simple on paper, but it actually gets pretty complicated in real life. And that is, defining what is a friend, what's a lover, and what is a fuck buddy. Because somewhere along the way, especially for women, I think, these categories got kind of blurry. We're told to be chill, we're told to be evolved, we're told not to be needy. We're supposed to be sexually liberated, but emotionally low maintenance. So we often say yes to arrangements that kind of work until they don't. So this episode isn't really about rules, but it's more about, being honest with ourselves and why the line between, these roles of friend, lover, fuck buddy, why they get so fuzzy, especially when we're on the brink of wanting something more or finally wanting something real. So I have our friend Kim Protopappas. She's back on the show to help us navigate this topic today. I love doing these segments on dating and relationships with you, Kim. So welcome back to the show.
Hi, Chris. Yeah, it's quite an interesting subject. There's no two ways about it. And I think lots of people are in this little craziness of dating. So yeah, it's a fun topic, in my opinion.
Exactly. So I think what we should do is maybe just, first of all, just kind of discuss what you and I think, a friend is, what a lover is, what a fuck buddy is, because I think we all have sort of different interpretations. I think the friend one, though, don't you think that's basic? Like there is no sex involved. Do you agree with that?
Yes, if that's what it is, if it's just truly friends. But I feel that that's where the lines are often blurred. If you are meeting somebody and it's the opposite sex and that's who you're attracted to, there's likely to be one of the people thinking a little bit more than just friends. Maybe it's possible to be friends, but not so easy.
Yeah. I mean, I probably had a couple of guy friends, but I always found that it did start to kind of turn a bit weird after a while. It started out just as friends, but then something started to change. I mean, yeah, maybe it's the nature of the beast too, because I would have been very happy to remain friends with these guys, but maybe it's because of the way men are wired that they, turn things into want to turn it into a sexual encounter. What do you think?
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's probably equal both ways where the woman could be sexually attracted and the guy's not and vice versa. So I'd say I've probably been on both sides of it where somebody, you'd think, okay, this is a great friend, and then all of a sudden they're expecting more or they sort of, go towards leaning towards thinking it could be that. But I've also been on the other end where I'd want more and they don't. So I personally have very few male friends because usually that's the way it goes. But if you have
It's
a male friend and that's all that either of you want, they're the best friends to have.
Yeah, I would love a couple of uh I don't care if they're straight or if they're gay, but I've just found it really hard to have straight men as friends in my life. So if any of you guys are listening out there and you just want straight friendship, give me a shout because that's really what I'm looking for right now. I want to test it to see if it really is true. Can the friendship endure without it, changing?
I have a friend who has several male friends, and some of them she has dated, some of them she's not, and she has no problem with it. So how that becomes that, I don't know, because like I say, some of them have been in relationships with, and some of them she hasn't, and she still is great friends with them. I've just never gotten there.
Yeah, me neither. Like, and you do hear of this. I do know of a few people who date, and then they break up and then they remain friends and, they go on to date other people. And sometimes they even, go on double dates with their exes. And I'm like, that's so interesting.
Yeah. It is. If you can keep it clean and nasty when you split up and you just go,
Yeah.
okay, well, then it's fine. But
Friends are somebody that you are just hanging out with, doing things with. It's not ever going to turn into something romantic or sexual. That's a true friend, right?
that's a true friend. Unfortunately, one person usually feels different ways. So, yes, that's the definition. They're just friends like any other girlfriend. They're just people you love and hang out with. And that's that.
Maybe what we need to do is to have better conversations with each other because you can sense when things are starting to shift in the relationship. And maybe you just say, hey, is something changing between us? I'm sensing there's a different dynamic now. What are your thoughts? I'm feeling something because I always think like everything comes down to honest, that being the key word, honest communication, not telling somebody something you think they want to hear or, playing it safe or whatever, but true transparency. And so, if you're honest with each other, you could say, well, you know what? I am starting to feel attracted to you. We're better friends. I actually really like who you are. And I am starting to feel quite attracted. And, then you can decide between the two of you how you're going to handle it. I don't know. I would hope that as we get older, that we're more honest with each other.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think for me, when I have looked at somebody who's going to, it sort of goes from you think you're a friend to something more, is when they start to go in for the kiss. So if somebody's going in, like you can peck on the cheek, that's one thing. But if somebody's going in
For
a
the
different
tongue?
type of kiss, yeah, the tongue, that's just so good. Like that's when you got to draw the line. You really do. It's like
Yeah,
there's
no,
not.
friends we don't French kiss. We don't French kiss with a friend.
No, we generally don't.
It's sending a
It's true.
totally different
Yeah.
message.
It really is. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
okay.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
friends,
that's
who knows? I'm
friends.
not the one to ask about male friends.
Yeah, I don't think I've really mastered that one either, but I'm very open to it, and I really do want to have more male friends in my life. So again, send me a text message or an email or something if you wanna be friends. That takes us to, well, let's move on to the fuck buddies because,
Uh,
again, I think this one seems pretty straightforward because, well, it starts out that way anyway, right? Because I think you both really are in it for the sex. You're attracted to one another, and maybe you're both really busy, and it just feels convenient and it's kind of fun. What do you think?
yeah, I think it's totally possible to have that as long as neither party has any interest in anything other than you get together. When you get together, you share a dinner, you share a bed, and that you go on about your life. So I think it's totally doable if both parties are at the same idea. Nobody wants anything more than that, then it can work. I've had
It
it.
can work.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't wanna say this out loud, but I'm going to because my kids will probably hear it, but I've had a friend since high school that we get together when we wanna get together, and that's what we do, and there's nothing more to it, not on his part, not on mine, and it works out really well.
Yeah. But here's the big but. It's when something shifts in there and, I know, like, I've done the episodes on this, like, with women, we release oxytocin, when we're in the throes of an orgasm. So oxytocin is the connection hormone, and so what it does is it binds us to our partner, and we go, "Oh, I think I love him. Oh, I want more. I wanna see him. I want." It comes across like I would say as, in the old days, we might have said that we kinda cling on to somebody, but it's just a form of attachment, and for women, it is very, very normal because of the oxytocin hormone. Now, men, it might not be, it might be easier for them to pull away, but here again is the fine line with having that really open, honest, transparent communication where you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm starting to really think that we could have something here just beyond sex." And the other person then has the option of like we're talking about being very, very vulnerable in these situations. And when you first meet somebody, whether you're a friend or you're a fuck buddy, you you don't really show that vulnerability, do you? And but if the situation is agreed upon, hey, we're just having sex, when the rules start to change, for one of you, you need to be honest with the other person. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and that's the problem. So you don't necessarily know when you start to get to know somebody which way it's going to go. Are you going to just be friends? Are you going to be lovers? When it starts, for myself personally, if you start to feel like it's going to be a lover, like a fuck buddy, well, it's not even a fuck buddy. If you think that there's going to be something more with that person, my good friend, I'll just give her the initial D, said, you use your head, and you do. You use your head and you look and you go, what is it about this person that makes me want to think that they could be somebody I could be with? And then you use your words. So then you say, I'm starting to have feelings for you. I would like to have sex with you. I just want to know that with you, it is going to go further than that, or have you got zero desire, but you'd be happy to be in bed? So you really have to talk about that before, because like you say, I don't know if it happens to men, but you get feelings when you've had sex, and then it changes just right in overnight in a bed. So it's very scary because once you get that, and if you haven't had the talk, that's when everything gets totally out of whack, and then your emotions are high, everything just becomes craziness when you sleep with someone you don't know where you stand, and it's not worth it.
Well, and the other piece to all of this is that we start to make assumptions. Like, we
Mhm.
might assume that, oh, well, because I feel this way, I'm just going to assume that this is where it's going to go without even having an open conversation about it, right? So we always want to be checking in and getting the clarification. And, again, I think, there's a lot of games out there. I mean, you've talked about this before in with online dating, and the game playing, people are telling each other what they think they want to hear because they just wanna go with it for the moment. But I really do think that, at our stage of life, we should be more honest about what it is we want, and I would hope that the people that we're having these experiences with want the same thing, so that honestly, I mean, if they want to walk away, they have every right to, but they should also be very honest with us and say, "Hey, I can see, your feelings are changing. I'm not really ready for this, or I'm not wanting this, or I'm on board." But at least everybody is not making assumptions.
Well, the biggest problem with that is using your mouth and using your words, because I've talked to enough single women that I know that you start seeing somebody start to get feelings, then you don't want to say anything, because then they're going to go, and this is something that a lot of men in this age group go, oh, she must be going through menopause. She's a bitch. So that's a huge red flag right there. But then you get in your head, well, I don't really want to say anything because they'll think I'm crazy. So I 100% believe that most women are afraid to say something if you're starting to get feelings for the person, because you're afraid what they're going to think. So that is something we have to stop doing, all of us at any age. Stop fearing what they will say if you say how you feel or whatever it is you have to say. Don't fear it. If they think you're crazy, like if you follow the signs of what they're saying, you look and you see their behavior and it's changing and they're spending more time with you, you can start to see how things are progressing. Like you say, you read that into your head that it's something. That doesn't mean that that's something for them. So that's when you need to say, you need to use your words. And we don't. We don't
And
use our
don't
words.
for sure, but, those are really good examples what you just gave because there's fear that we're gonna be judged in some way, for whatever we say to this person, but I maintain that I think that it's way better to get their opinion out in the open and tell me how you really feel than to just make an assumption and then carry on with that assumption, staying quiet and being afraid that they're going to judge you, they're going to gaslight you, they're going to say these things. If they're going to do all that, I don't really think I want to be with you anyway. Do you know what I
No,
mean? Like,
but
if
if you
you're
have
going to
those
go
feelings and you're
ahead.
afraid to say something, that's the problem. So it all sounds very great, except that me and so many other women I know don't do that. It's the fear of doing it. I think we all
But
have a
that's a
fear.
generational thing, Kim, I think.
Is it? I hope it is. I really hope it is because
I think the younger women are way more capable of saying what it is that they want, because they're not afraid to go out there and get what they want, like our generation was, because we had so many different double standards. I mean, we weren't even supposed to like sex. It
yeah.
was a big secret.
Mhm.
Right? So I think, we've got to educate the men from our generation that we're very capable of handling what they have to say. And the way they say it is really going to be a reflection of what is going to be the next step for us. Because as I said, if he does, challenge you, or like if he's not being a gentleman about it and going, yeah, like let's have this conversation, maybe he's not the right one to be taking the next step with.
1000%. That's what we have to do. I hope and I do believe that the younger generation is a lot smarter than us, but that is what I have to do. And I know there's plenty of other single women I talk to. That's what we have to do. We have to just say it. And if they aren't the right one, they aren't the right one. But sometimes,
Yeah,
all your things start going and it's like, oh, he's the one. It's so easy to overthink it all. It really is. It's just,
it's so easy to overthink it. And I think sometimes we find that maybe it's easier to live with this kind of uncertainty or ambiguity or whatever you want to call it. Maybe that feels more comfortable to us than the rejection. Maybe we'll hang in there for a little while longer just because we're so afear of the rejection piece. Do you think
well,
that's a thing?
if that's the case, then we all need to go to counseling to deal with that because that is it's true. Like that is such a I don't doubt that it's going on, but it's really, really stupid. So no, forget the fear. Like we have to just look and go, what is what is this guy going to bring to my world either way, no matter whether it's as a friend, lover, whatever it may be. We have to look at it at the bigger picture and we have to realize that no man's worth having unless he's the right one. But it's so easy to overlook those things. So don't do it anymore.
I would say you need to know you first. So you need to know, okay, what's non-negotiable here? Like maybe write down the top 3 things that you're not willing to negotiate on and then stick to them.
Yeah.
Because I also do believe that we go, "Oh, that was a little bit of a yellow flag or a red flag," but we dismiss it. And then when we look back on it, we go, "Oh, you know what? I really should have paid more attention to that." So I think you need to have your top 3 non-negotiables, and you need to be able to stick to it, whatever that is for you, whatever makes you feel safe or whatever it is that you need from that relationship.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah, you have to have your deal breakers that right from the start, it's a no-go, and then
yeah,
you have to be able to see the red flags and then go, "Okay, so if this is a behavior I don't like texting is a big one. Today, everything is about text. So, if you meet somebody and they're texting, everything is good, good morning, good night, all the day, and then all of a sudden they start to dwindle off, that there's something behind that.
yeah,
So, that right there is the first one where you go, "Okay, so the interest has died off. Okay, fine, you're not interested, that's fine, on to the next, but sometimes we will be dumb enough to try to keep grabbing, and that's where we all are learning and growing and changing, and that's why these things that we talk about are so important because when you talk to other people about them, we realize we're all in the same boat doing the same
yeah.
silly mistakes, but we're not going to anymore. We're gonna support each other as women and realize our value as women.
Exactly. So we're not in these sort of half relationships, right?
Oh,
We're second guessing ourselves and we're feeling like we're not enough in them sometimes, I think,
yeah. Yeah, and that's just
right?
so wrong. Like, I just don't know how we get to that. Again, the younger generation seems to have it all together so much better, but a man has got to be the right man to deserve us because we are gifts. And especially now at this age, like all of us, I believe, have become so much more in love with ourselves, I guess, just more confident in ourselves, all that. Why do we think we need a man? And
Yeah.
that's another good question right there, actually, because why do we need a man? Like, I personally have so much love in my life with all the female friends I have around me. I've got friends, I got family, I've got all the things I want. And I thought, why do I want a man? And I think we might have even talked about it in the last one, and it might be different than what we talked about last time. Because what I think I need is I want the security of having a man that has my back, that is masculine. So it's the masculine energy that I crave. It's not about the dick. It's not about any of that. It's about, I just want a man that has my back, that is masculine, that can just make me be more feminine by being a man. And I've yet to meet a freaking man. They're all
Well, I was gonna
boys.
say to you, isn't it's like a unicorn, it's almost mythological.
Well, if it is, then I might as well just stay by myself and continue to do
Stop
what I need.
now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you know what I think the big difference is, I mean, I think they're out there. I just don't think that you and we need to chase them. I think honestly, if I am meant, because I believe in fate, and I just believe there's a divine timing for everything, and so I think I could be in, Whole Foods, and I might be in the bathroom tissue department, and there he's just going to appear. I don't feel I have to go and chase and cling and settle. And I think too, like if a guy is just coming out of a relationship, I would have to say a guy or a woman, doesn't matter who it is. I think depending on how long they've been in that relationship, they need a lot of space. They need time to reflect. They need time to get over their ex, whether it's anger, sadness, grief, whatever the emotion is. And then really that person is ready, you have these conversations about your ex. And if you can see that people can have a conversation about their ex without having all the emotional baggage attached to it, you can see that they've released it, they've forgiven it, they've forgiven themselves, they see the part they played in it perhaps. Like there's some emotional maturity about it, and they're not blaming. Then that to me says, you're probably okay. You're probably ready for a relationship. And I think statistically, they say that women will go away and do some work on themselves after a relationship breakup. But I think the statistics are much lower for men.
Well, they don't wanna take any time in between that, just how it seems, but we all have to, and I mean, each relationship you're in, no matter how long it is, you've changed who you are during that period of time. I mean, yes, you need that time to figure out who you are, what you want, and rushing into anything is no good. So I'm kind of looking now that I manifest everything that I wanna manifest, so I'm gonna have a 3-year manifestation. I don't have to rush into anything. I have lots going on, I'm busy, so I don't have to reach out to find a man right now. It's easy to do when you're on any of the dating apps because it's like, "Oh, yeah, there's a new face, and then that guy could be the one, blah, blah, blah." But I'm now gonna say to myself that I have a 3-year manifestation time, and sometime during that, the man that I want, the man that I need will be there, and I will believe that. And it's gonna be somebody completely different than anybody I've ever had, because 'cause I've never had anybody that's the right person for me.
Yeah. Well, and that's good. That's healthy. And to give yourself lots of space for that to happen instead of it has to happen within 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever, right? Yeah, give yourself lots of time and space and the curiosity to ask lots of questions and find out more about the person before, you know, it depends what you want though. So we were talking
Yes.
about friends, right? So we've defined the friends. I've said I really want some male friends in my life. How do you feel about the male friends? Do you want some of those?
Oh, I'd love to have some male friends.
There you go.
I haven't been able to find it because it
Yeah.
always one person wants more, but yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. And we both kind of agree on the fuck buddies too, that I think probably when we first come out of a relationship, some people anyway, they really want that quick validation that they're still okay. So a fuck buddy is a really instantaneous way of getting that, validation. And some people are just lead busy lives and just really want to have a sexual partner, maybe sexual partners, but we've defined it that person, the fuck buddy, is just about sex, right?
Mhm.
And it's not about necessarily even having a friendship where you go and hang out and have ice cream together. It's really sex. So that
Yeah.
brings us to the lover. And do you have any notions on like what a lover would be to you?
Well, I don't know that. I guess I would use a different word, like a partner. I would see it as a lover being a partner because a lover could be just your fuck buddy. But to me, a lover, I would use the word partner. So it's somebody that's your partner, that's your person, and a lover is just that person being a part of your life.
Yeah, and so for me, I feel like it's kind of a combination of the fuck buddy and the friend. You
Hmm.
have, more intimacy, and when I say intimacy, I don't mean sexual intimacy, I mean you're really very vulnerable and you're willing to expose both of you are willing to expose, parts of yourself that aren't so pretty and sharing the past and introducing each other to friends and family, and you're really wanting to mesh your lives together. And so you're relying on them for emotional support and you enjoy their company. And maybe you have like shared values, maybe you have shared interests, but you're sharing something more than just sex. And with a friend, you're aligned with a male friend anyway because you have mutual interests or maybe, mutual values. So it's kind of blending the two things together. I mean, for me, I feel like that is what I want. I don't see the need for a fuck buddy right now in my life. Maybe there was a time, but I really don't. That's not what I want.
No.
I want all my relationships right now to be meaningful. That's just the stage of life I'm at, whether it's a family member, whether it's girlfriend, whoever. I just want to have that in my life, and I feel I deserve that.
You
And
do.
so, yeah, I mean, you're either going to be my friend, and we go out and we go hiking, we have ice cream, we go for dinner, whatever, and it never is going to turn romantic. Or it's you're my friend, but we're also romantic. So that is a lover for me. And I think, yeah, lover partner, that's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah, I think we get so much from every person that we know. So I really try to think, what is it that a man can bring that all my friends can't? My friends all have my back. They're all there for me. I think it's that masculine energy.
Yeah.
I just think it's that I just want a big, strong man just to put his arms around me and you just feel that. I think that's the only reason I want a man because everything else you can get it from your bedside table. You can have it from your friends. There's a lot of ways that you don't need a man. So that would be what I think it boils down to.
We talked about this before, like having that person in our life. There's many, many ways that that looks as well. Again, it all just comes down to conversation, honesty,
Yes.
transparency, and checking in with each other regularly to say, are we still on the same page? Has anything changed? Is there anything I'm missing? Is there something you need from me? Or this is what I really could use from you right now.
Yeah,
Because we're
that
always evolving and changing.
we are, and that right there is what it is. It's just using your words and checking in all the time. Unfortunately, for some reason, we don't need to do it with women, and I don't know why. Like, I don't ever check in with my girlfriends and say, "Are we on the same page about this and that?" So I don't know why it has to be with a man, but it does. We have to check in, and if you don't, it just becomes chaos, and I don't want chaos anymore. I'm done with it. I just hate chaos. If I say one thing if somebody has any chaos in their life when I meet them, I don't want anything to do with it. I just can't deal with it anymore. I want peace,
Yeah.
calm, and happy people, and find a man that's big and strong and is like that.
No, I get it. I get it. So, like, what would if you were to give a woman piece of advice right now, say she's trying to decide what it is that she wants, what would you tell her?
What she wants if she's looking in the dating world?
Yeah. Based on, okay, we've got the friend department, we've got the lover department, and we've got the fuck buddy department. So knowing what you know now and she's trying to decide what it is that she wants, what would you tell her?
Spend a lot more time getting to know somebody. So that until you get to know somebody you just don't know. And unfortunately, I think it's easy to fall into feelings quicker than you need to. So I don't personally know how to separate those things. So I'm not really the one to ask, but if I was to say to myself, get to know that person a lot better and don't do it fast, go slow, figure out what this person could possibly be to you and ask lots of questions.
Yeah, let's face it. I mean, I knew a woman who, right off the bat, she'd been dating for quite a while. She was divorced, and she told the people that she was dating, she said, "I just want to be very clear with you that because of my cultural background, that anybody who I remain with, it has to end in marriage. That's just part of my family custom, and it's important to me." So she's just told them right off the bat, I am looking for marriage. I know somebody else who said, I have a child and that there's no negotiating that. That child comes with. So you need to be comfortable with my kid. And I think if you can set the stage immediately, you can gauge if there's fear on that person's face or if they're like, oh, okay, yeah. We're telling the person, this is who I am. And these are the things that this is my line in the sand. And you can tell me right now, it's a yes or a no, and we can go from there, right?
Eliminate a lot
Um,
of time. Yeah,
yeah,
you
you can eliminate so much by just having those very frank, upfront, conversations
yeah.
right away, and you'll be able to tell by the person's facial expressions. They may change the subject, they may deflect, they may do all kinds of things. Um, and you and I have had this conversation. They may even tell you what they think you wanna hear just because they're hoping that it's gonna turn into sex, right? This is the really hard part because somebody might be playing along with you and telling you the things and you're going, "Wow, this person's great," and they're being so open and transparent, and then, you can start to feel like, "Okay, this is starting to feel safe to me." 'Cause let's face it, you can't say, "Oh, give it 6 months or give it 3 months or give it a year before you actually sleep with the person," because there is no definitive time that is right, it's really what feels right. And
Mhm.
so even if you have given this person, say, 3 months of your time and you're just getting to know them and everything feels safe and right, it's not to say that there aren't awful people out there, dickheads who will turn it on you and say, I thought I wanted a relationship, but I just realized now, after you've had sex, that that's not really what I want, or it's too soon for me. I thought this was what I wanted. So we have to be prepared that that could be the reality of some experiences out there. And so just because somebody says something doesn't mean that that's actually how it's going to follow through. So we kind of have to be prepared for different scenarios to come up.
And I guess you run the risk of getting hurt. Run the risk of all the things that could happen if you jump into it too fast. But I don't know. I guess you just hope for the best. I mean, I don't think any of us have gone into something at the beginning thinking, okay, this is never going to work. So you think it's going to work and it doesn't. So
We're asking the right questions based on those, let's just say those top 3 things that are really important to you. And if they align with that person, then you know that that's safe. And I think we shouldn't be afraid, like we were saying before, we should not be afraid to initiate the conversation and bring it up and not wait for him to do it because we're afraid we're being too pushy or too forward or we're asking for too much. We're dating. We're looking for the right match. Let's not waste each other's time.
that right there needs to be written out into a thing that every woman needs to look at. You have the right to ask. If they have
Yeah.
talked about other people, oh, she's crazy, she's on menopause. That's not your guy because we have emotions. We're entitled to our emotions. And
Yeah.
why wouldn't we show them? It makes sense. Like I would rather put it out there and risk being hurt than to not show what my real emotions are. It's like this is how I feel. I really am interested in you. I see a future, blah blah blah. So if they can't handle it, you might as well know then. So, but It's between knowing it in your head and saying it with your mouth. There's something that
Yeah.
goes on there that we are afraid to say things, and it's not just me, it's so many women I talk to.
Well,
And you say to
it's
any man, "I wanna talk," you will never hear from them again. It's gonna be ages before no man ever wants to hear, "I wanna talk." So you gotta hit them at the right moment because they do not wanna talk.
well, here's the deal, Kim. We grew up with very emotionally unavailable men, meaning that the men didn't know how to connect their feelings with what they wanted as well. We've only learned the language more recently ourselves as women.
Mhm.
And so the men haven't quite caught up. I'd say with the younger generation, like I just had this conversation over the weekend when I was with my daughter and my son in law, and they said to me, "No, no, we check in with each other all the time. We're really open with one another, and we always know where we stand." And
Ye
I watched those 2, and they're so connected, and they've been together for years. The honeymoon is long since been over, and I can still see there's a rhythm to them. You know, they're in step with each other, with everything they do. And I don't think every couple is quite yet there, and some women are not there yet either. It's not just the guys, it's some women too. But so we really need to know us and what we want, and then not settle and not be in a half relationship just because we think we need to be in a relationship. It's so funny because I just did an episode on mistakes. We women, we were trained. This is our training. This is our upbringing from being little girls, that being in the relationship, Kim, was the prize. It wasn't about choosing right. It was about getting into a relationship. And I remember thinking that, like, oh, yeah, look at her. She's got so and so, and they're going to have the White House with the picket fence and the 2 kids, you know? And I thought, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get that? But we need to reframe the whole thing and say, who is it that I want that's gonna fit in with my life instead of making it about that person and how come I'm not good enough to fit into his life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true. It's like, it's not about us fitting into theirs. It's not about us being chosen. We are the ones that get to choose. You can have
Yeah,
as many people after you as you wanted. We have to remember we are the ones that get to choose. And what are you bringing to the table that is going to make my life better? Because otherwise, I got everything I need. I really do, and
yeah.
I do feel like 99% of the time, that's what I feel I have all the hugs, all the love, all the everything I need I have around me, and an empty bed is perfectly fine because I have 2 kitties to sleep with, so I'm happy alone in a bed. So, yeah, it's gotta be a man that's just gonna really you gotta be bringing something to the table, and then I'll choose you.
Well, and let's face it, I mean, if we're bringing a man into our bed, it comes with a different set of circumstances now that we're older. Just as our bodies have changed, so have the men's bodies. They're not coming in with these hot bodies and everything. We've all got to be a little more forgiving in that department. The other thing is, I know that a lot of men snore after 50. So you're coming into my bed, and in some ways, I'm giving up a lot to have you there.
Mhm.
You
Definitely.
know, I'm really compromising myself to allow that space to be taken because I got to tell you, I love sleeping by myself. I love it. I
Mm.
love the fact that I've got the space in my bed. I've got the things the way that I want it. And I sleep better not having anybody there. So honestly, if I'm going to bring you in, I'm hoping that you're going to bring something with you besides your penis.
Exactly, which, seems to be a lot of men this age can't even use it anyway without the little blue pill, so that's another thing.
Well, there's that too, right?
Yeah, so but the
So,
bedroom is a very intimate space, and so, like you say, when you bring somebody in there, they've got to you've there's gotta be a reason you're gonna allow them into for one thing, into your space, but also into your private parts of your body, so it's what you might have given up before, you're not gonna give up anymore, it's not worth it
yeah.
because this
Mhm.
is a whole lot, everything's a whole lot that I have to give, and to get the cookie, there's gonna have to be something gonna have to be something.
Yeah. So what's non-negotiable for you?
I won't ever date a smoker or an alcoholic.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
yeah, those things are definitely right off stable. And then finances is the next. I don't want to be with somebody that can't afford to do the things that I wanna do. I don't wanna be supported, but if you can't afford to, let's say, go for a road trip and it's gonna cost us $500, if you don't have $500, then it's probably not somebody I wanna be with.
Yeah, I know, and that's the good thing is, hopefully we do learn from
Yep,
these things.
yep.
I would say for me, mine is values. I want to be with somebody
Yes.
who shares the same value system as I do because I think that's where I've tripped myself up. I've gone for the smooth talker, the handsome one, the this, the that, whatever. And I realized that once I'm in it and I really see it for what it is, that I'm compromising and I don't want to have to do that going forward.
Neither do I. The lines get blurred very quickly when you start to feel something for somebody. So stay away from those blurred lines until you have some sort of a clue. And then, like you say, keep the conversations going. Where are we now? What's going on? And if that person isn't somebody that wants to deal with that, then they're not your person.
Yeah. Yeah. Just watch. Keep an eye on them. Watch for the yellow flags. If it's a red flag, you really got to pay attention. But the yellow flags, we have to listen to those too because they often become red flags. So it's really having your radar turned on and see if you are tuning into each other rather than you're forgiving too easily and you're letting things go too easily. I think, you know,
But
our
even with
generation did that.
without having conversations, I just have been in an experience like that where I thought things were a certain way. All the signs, everything was the same. It's like you put it on a spreadsheet and you go, okay, everything is heading towards the same directions, but it wasn't. And so well, him and I both agreed we should have had the talk because it wasn't going in the same direction for both of us. So yeah, it's one.
Ah,
So
at the
this
beginning.
for the whole entire time. So the watching is one thing because all the signs were there. I can guarantee you all the signs were there. It's like, well, this is obviously, I mean, these things don't happen if it's not a relationship. You don't spend all your time together. We did everything together. So, and yet it wasn't what I thought it was.
So, were you making assumptions? Is that what you're
I
saying?
guess I was reading the signals and going, okay, this is all good. This is the progression is going as it should be in a relationship. So yeah, I assumed something and I didn't ask. And we both agreed that we should have talked about it, and that the not
Yeah.
talking about it was the problem. So I ended up being hurt, but I can stand back and look and go, we were both wrong to not bring it up. We should have both said, is this where we're both going, rather than me assuming it and him assume. I don't know. I haven't actually talked to him to see if he assumed that it wasn't what it was, but I
Mm.
thought it was something it wasn't. So
So, we've gotta communicate. That's all there is to it.
that's,
Get clarification as well. You
yeah.
know, no assumptions made. Yeah, really good because I think it's one thing to be open-hearted and open to situations, but it's another thing to it's almost self-abandoning if we're not meeting each other every step of the way, especially in those early days. I think honestly, it's so easy to misstep or miss a cue or take for granted or assume.
So I love your idea and I'm going to use it moving forward. It's every step along the way, just ask, okay, so we've been seeing each other now for 5 days. So what's going on here? Are we still getting to know each other? Or are we sort of thinking we like each other enough to try to see if something's like each step of the way, just keep asking the
Yeah,
questions. And if then at least step out of it sooner than rather than later until your heart's already in it.
yeah. And if he's wriggling around in his restaurant chair and he's really uncomfortable, then you know something is not quite right.
Yeah.
If he's meeting your gaze and he's going, yeah, I'm with you, then I think it's probably a green light.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to find men like that in this age group, but no point in giving up because maybe there is some guy out there that actually knows how to communicate.
You're talking about manifesting over the next 3 years, so if
Mhm.
you'll do it,
I
you'll
will.
find him.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
it's meant to be, I will without a doubt, and I have vision boards and I have things, so I will be putting it out there for myself, and that's what I'm looking for, and I don't even really yet know what it exactly is, so until I exactly know, then I can't even write about it, but that's what I'm
yeah,
gonna do. I'm giving myself a 3-year term.
yeah, there you go. So you're already a master manifester.
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see on the
Well,
next podcast where we're at. Yeah.
we'll check back in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been a really good, funny, informative conversation, Kim. And I just want to thank you for your time and showing up for the audience. It's great.
If any of the ladies have anything, like, give some feedback, like, send Chris an email or give some feedback, like, and to hear from men would be great. Like, it would be awesome to have a man that would come and have the same conversation where we could talk about
Yeah.
them, man's side, woman's side. So if there's any men out there, come on, just
Yeah.
decide you want. It doesn't matter what the age group is, just a male perspective would be really interesting.
Exactly. And honest, right? Really
Yeah.
honest, transparent. That's what we're looking for here.
Yeah.
Good one.
I
Okay. Thanks, Kim. And I'm just going to close out here by saying, like, maybe the real question isn't what are we to each other, but how do I feel about myself when I'm with you? And if the answer keeps shrinking, then maybe it's time to change the role. This has been Women on the Brink. Thanks for showing up with us today.